of me is down. You enchant me, even when you're not around. If there are boundaries, I will try to knock them down. I'm latching on them, now I know what I have found.
What's going on, everybody? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the Family First Life Enhanced Foundation Strategy Call. Today is February 10th, 2022. Super excited as this is the first week since annual convention. We're all back to zero. We're all back in the same position. And I'm super excited for you guys to hear from some of our leaders about their experience at convention, some of their takeaways, and really what we're going to do moving forward in 2022. But first, we'll go through our updates and everything. So first and foremost, guys, January is a wrap. We finished a little over 700,000, total $704,188. Congratulations, everybody. That is our biggest 4-week month to date. And it's all because of the work that you guys put in. But I will name off the top 15 here. Number 15, Garrett A. First month with us, 10,588. Good work, dude. Veridina Lopez, 11,597. Mr. Oscar Contreras, 11,892. Moises Santos, 12,091. Andrew Perez, 13,202. Number 9, Brian Contreras, 14,143. Number 8, John B, 14,661. Number 7, Alex Godinez, 14,681. Good work, bro. I'm pretty sure that's your biggest month so far. Number 6, John Dixon, 17,810. In the coveted left column club, top 5, all over 20,000. Good work. Marcus McCall, 22,496. Mr. Blue Collar himself, Cody Fuller, 28,444. Number 3, Jared Lindsay, 28,651. Mr. Willis Hicks, 42,904. Finally, someone took him off the number 1 spot. Great job, Willis. There only can be one number 1, Mr. Robert Santana, 44,359. Pretty sure that is your biggest month to date. So congratulations, Santana. Way to start off 2022 on the right step. Tracking to hit Hall of Fame, all via live transfers. It's awesome to see your success, Santana. I'm proud of the efforts you've been putting in, brother. Next, FFLenhancers.com, guys. We created this Zoom link for you guys to get better. We created this for us to be unified as a unit. And we've created these different breakout rooms for us to really allow to focus on what we're going to do with this business. We rolled out virtual sales, we rolled out live transfers, and now, of course, we're still doing in person. So we have a one-call close room. We have a live transfer room. We have a book an appointment room. We have a one-on-one coaching room. If you want to get some one-on-one coaching, that is the place for you to get that one-on-one hands-on, really getting help, tweaking, adjusting to what you're doing on the phones. And then we have a recruiting room. So that's going to be for agency managers who are doing recruiting calls. So people who have interest in recruiting or building a team, that is an area for you to listen in on active recruiting calls throughout the week. And this is open Monday through Sunday, guys. So this is really for you to utilize at your own time. But at the end of the day, it only works if you're on there unmuting yourself and actively asking for help and looking for advice and being open-minded to coaching. But we can't help coach you. We can't help you get better if we never hear you or never see you on those dials. But that's open Monday through Sunday for you guys. FFLenhancers.com. Just type it in your search bar. It takes you right into the Zoom link. Next, we have the monthly producer bonus. And we're going to continue to promote this out to you guys because it's an opportunity for you to get compensated off of your own efforts. You do $30,000 of issue paid business in a month, you'll get paid $500 non-charge backable money. That's the best kind of money because they can't take it back from you. The client can't cancel. So at the end of the day, this is an opportunity for you to utilize your hard work and get compensated off of your hard work. Next, we've updated our weekly training call schedule. And so could you please take a screenshot of this, snap a photo of it? We dropped the image in Slack yesterday, and we just made some tweaks and adjustments on as far as days, locations of calls, and places where you'll get plugged into. So we've changed our agency builders call from Monday evening to Monday afternoon. If you have any interest in growing a team, building an agency, this is where we'll discuss strictly recruiting tips, tricks, and have guest speakers of huge agency owners within Family First Life sharing what they do, their strategies, and for you to learn how to get better at recruiting and learn how to build an agency. And then we also added on there the Saturday morning leadership call with Sean Mike. It's on his Instagram page. It's at Sean Mike. I personally love that call. It's great for you to just get good mindset thinking about the business. And another personal favorite call that I have is the one on Wednesday with Trey Honeycutt, the Beyond the Leaderboard. It's really, really good for mindset. And it's one of those things where it gets you thinking the right way. Maybe when you're not in the right part of thinking, or you're a little bit down on yourself due to your work or the results that you're getting, that call on Wednesday really kept my mind right and kept me going. So that's another one of my personal favorite calls that we have every single week with Trey Honeycutt. Next, work spots. This gives you the ability to, number one, plug into a local office, whether that's an hour away, 2 hours away, 3 hours away. I'll never forget this. Easton Patton said that he would drive 90 minutes, guys, every single dial day to get to a local office. He's one of the top producers in all of Family First Life. If he's willing to do that, why are you not willing to do that? And the importance of getting to a local office gets you around excellence. You surround yourself with excellence. You get around people who are doing this business, fighting the fight alongside with you. So I highly encourage you to get onto WorkSpot so you can get plugged into a local office, but you also get discounts pretty much on a weekly basis. You're going to get 20, 25, 30% off of leads. And so it's going to ultimately pay for itself and save you a ton of money when you're purchasing leads. Next. So we want to basically share with you guys our big takeaways and things that we learned at convention. And so I'm going to call on a couple of our leaders who attended annual convention and also their biggest takeaways and things that they learned. Because for a lot of people on the team, that was their first big convention. Just stop sharing the screen. The red button, stop. There we go. Perfect. So I'll start. This was my third annual convention that I attended. It was truly mind-blowing to see how far along that we came compared to 2 years ago when we were in the Planet Hollywood, casino with 3,000 people. I believe the highest day was on Saturday. We had 12,000 attendees in Miami, which was absolutely amazing to see. We 4x'd our attendance from just 2 years ago. And what was even crazier is that my first convention that we went to, I went to convention with Michaela. That's it. Just me and Michaela, nobody else. And then we attended this year and we had over 100 people that attended representing Enhanced Foundation. So that's what can happen here, guys, is if you don't quit on yourself, you share the opportunity, you get good at selling life insurance at a high level, you turn around and help people know how to sell life insurance as well, that can happen for you as well. But the biggest takeaway that I truly got was from one of the keynote speakers was Dave Anderson. And he just explained about how attacking the day and winning the day, the most important part of your day is the first hour when you wake up. What are you doing in that first hour to set the tone for the day? If you win the first hour of the day, you already have an upper hand to winning the entire day and attacking the day. And so I challenge all of you that are on this call to look at your morning routine. And within that routine, what is your rituals that you're doing? Are you just scrolling through your phone, checking social media? Are you going to work out? Are you feeding your brain knowledge through a book? Are you laying in bed for another 45 minutes after you wake up? Like, what you do in that first hour is truly going to determine how your day is going to end up. So personally, for myself, what I've been doing is immediately waking up and having 2 glasses of water. That's just something that Dave Anderson suggested, is getting good hydration. It starts with hydrating yourself. So he said, I encourage you to start drinking 2 cups of water a day, and then start with a cold shower. Once you have that cold shower hit your back, there ain't nothing that's going to be more uncomfortable than that cold water hitting your back and waking your ass up and attacking the day. So just look at what you're doing in the morning, because that's really going to determine how your day ends up. So really examine what you're doing in your morning routines. And what are those rituals that stand within those routines. And he just said that the biggest thing is having an agenda. If you don't have an agenda for your day, you're just kind of free loafing and throughout the day and just, picking up on the fly. So really being strategic with your scheduling is how you're really going to set yourself up for success. So I just encourage you guys, I highly encourage you guys to change up what your morning routine is to really set yourself up for success. I personally think that getting to the gym or at least walking or feeding your brain some knowledge through a book or audio is really how you start to really set yourself up for success, because you're feeding your mind and your brain knowledge, which knowledge is power. Knowledge controls fear. Fear controls knowledge. So a lot of you that are fearful in this business is because you don't have the knowledge that you have to control that fear. So how you can overcome that is simply educating yourself through entrepreneurship books, through entrepreneurial podcasts, through FFL trainings. Like, you have that ability to give yourself the knowledge, which would in turn control your fear in this business. So that was my biggest takeaway, guys, was Dave Anderson. And this is the 3rd time that I heard him. And this is what I was explaining to some people. Dave Anderson's going to be at all of our annual conventions. He's a great guy. Sean Mike loves Dave Anderson because he talks really about mindset. And this business is truly a mindset business. Once you can control your emotions, control your mindset, it just really becomes a numbers game. But the crazy part is, this is the 3rd time that I heard Dave Anderson speak. And this was the best time I've ever heard him speak. But what the messed up part is he said the same exact speech the last 3 years, the same 14 bullet points. But the thing is I've evolved as a person, I've evolved as a leader. So these different things that he suggested hit differently to my brain because I'm in a different position in the business. So as you listen to trainings, as you continuously give yourself knowledge, you may hear things that are redundant or things that you've heard before, but as we evolve throughout this business, there's going to be 1 or 2 things that click, one or two things that hit differently now because you've went through some trials and tribulations, or you've went through a failure to now where it makes sense, it clicks. So as long as we're evolving, the training is always going to keep us getting better. But if you think that you know it all and that the training isn't going to help you, that's where you're messing up. Because me being in my 3rd year in the business, I still understand how important it is to plug into all the training calls to continuously redefine my brain and to sharpen my iron. That's all it is sharpening your iron. But that was my biggest takeaway. So I just want you guys to kind of hear from some other key leaders in our group that also attended. So I see Cody. Cody is the first person that I see on here. Cody, if you could unmute yourself and kind of just share some 1 or 2 takeaways that you got from convention, as I know this was your first convention. And if you could just share with the team some of the biggest takeaways and what you're going to implement into your business, sir.
Yeah, for sure. I love Dave Anderson. I did. I absolutely love Dave Anderson. You know, there's something powerful about when you get that many people in a spot, together that's all working towards a common goal. Because I mean, everybody's trying to figure this out, and you got so many new people that and things evolve, right? Leads change, demographics change, areas change. The flow of the business. I mean, since I've been in the business, a lot of it's changed, with virtual, this, that, the other. But there's something so powerful, man, about getting around people who are motivated, And I'll tell you, man, like I remember sitting there and I went up top and I sat by myself for about 10 minutes and I was just looking at it. And I was in I was in a stadium full of people that just wanted to win. And for me, I had this conversation with my dad last night. I got in late last night from running, like real late. And my dad called me and I was having a conversation with him. And he asked me, he was like, what motivates you to do what you do? He was like, because you're out there, And I was like, yeah, but I'm not out there enough. I was like, I'm not out there enough. And I was like, what motivates me is when this group chat goes off and this phone goes off and Slack goes off, the competitive nature in me, I can't take it. I cannot take it. Like you seen yesterday, me and Jared giving each other crap, going back and forth. Like I love it. I love just poking him. I love it, and it's surrounding yourself with people that are like that every day. Like I have nothing against lazy people, but I don't get them. I don't understand them. So when I go down to convention and I'm in with a group of people that are just motivated and they all want to learn and they want knowledge, like it pours out of my soul, man. And there's so many people on this call right now that I sat and talked to when we did our meet and greet, and they were hungry, man. They were hungry. I could see it in their eyes. They were hungry. And I remember in my life when I made that switch, when enough wasn't enough and good wasn't good enough. I remember it. And there were so many people there that good wasn't good enough. It wasn't. And how you do one thing is how you're going to do everything. If you slack on dialing, you're going to slack in the field. Your business is going to slack. And you can notice it. Whenever I was, I went backstage and I was walking with Easton and Jake, right? You could just feel it coming off of them. Like you could just feel it, the motivation, the drive, the determination. The only difference between those people and other people on this call right now is they do it. They show up. They dial the phone. 12 hours, dial day. They're here. They're right here, right now, dialing the phone. I guarantee it, right? And so my biggest takeaway from convention is it's priceless. I mean, they could charge me $5,000 and I wouldn't get the money out of my pocket fast enough to be in that stadium. And it's just the truth. Being around people like that and surrounding yourself with people like that, it does something for you. It really, truly does. And it fires me up. It gets me motivated. It gets me pumped up, and it makes me want to poke and prod people, because if you don't put the time and effort into it, you're selling yourself short. And not only are you selling yourself short, but you're selling short the people who believe in you, right? If you got a spouse, if you got a child, what do you do? Like there's people on this call right now that's got so much potential and they're so good at helping families. And they just don't put the time and effort into it, And I hope that whenever you go down to convention and you meet somebody like Michael Sandman, 20-year-old kid, like it's in his eyes. It's in his eyes. He came from nothing. He came from absolutely nothing. And he smoked me this year. And that motivates me. I look at that kid and I'm like, checkmate, man. All right. That's enough for me. Like I got to step up. Right. So if it's on a Wednesday, if it's on a Saturday, if you're like, oh, the Super Bowl Sunday, so I'm not going to run business. I love Joey Burrow like the rest of the people, but you can bet your hind end I've already got appointments on the books for Sunday. Like and the other thing that I would say is I talk to so many people and I ask them specifically, what did you give up? What did you give up that you like, that you're comfortable with? What did you give up in order to get to where you want to be? Because if you're willing to do that, do the 90-day cycle and then do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again. And you'll be surprised at where you're at, And to me, that's what I took away from convention. There's a lot of hungry people in there, and there's a lot of successful people in there. And the only difference between the hungry people and the successful people is the action that they took, period. That's it.
Amen, dude. I appreciate you sharing. And you hit on a key thing that Dave Anderson spoke on is you got to surround yourself with excellence. This business can be very lonely if you make it lonely, but this business can be very supportive if you choose to get the support that is available to you, but it's only available to you if you utilize it, because no one's going to just reach out to you and say, hey, how's it going? Or, hey, how are you doing? But if you reach out to somebody and you make it a point that you're trying to grow, you're trying to learn, people are going to put their hand back down and pick you up. And so thank you for sharing, Cody. I think it's really huge for all of us. And that's why the whole point of the meet and greet was for you guys to utilize your teammates. We have a lot of really good players on this team. And there's a lot of really good players who aren't getting the opportunity to share what this is about or to share what they're doing and being successful. And so you're never bothering somebody. I just want to make that very clear. That's the biggest mental barrier, I would say, in people not reaching out to somebody is they think that they're bothering somebody or they're too busy. Look, the people who are doing this at a high level and succeeding at a high level, they do this 24/7. Like, you're not bothering them. You're actually helping them get better as a leader, as a trainer. So thank you for sharing, Cody. Next here that I see is Mr. Santana. This was your second convention, Santana. Obviously a year into the business now. What was your biggest takeaway, and what are some things that you learned while you were at annual convention?
My biggest takeaway was Mr. Anderson with one of the points that he made was release and refocus. That hit me so deep because let's be honest, it's not easy to beat Mr. Willis Hicks, and I bet you this month he's coming strong at my throat. You know what I mean? It's so if I hung on to the losses, because whatever I set, whatever I placed, I submitted a lot more than that, and I got a lot of no's before I got those yeses. So if I held on to those no's, I would have shut down. There was times I went 0 for 15, 0 for 10. I just kept going and kept pushing. But not only on the losses, but here's another thing that I struggle with is holding on to the wins. I get complacent. So the losses bring you down and the wins make you complacent. So to try to find that balance of releasing and refocusing, whatever it is, whether it's a win or a loss. Okay, that was last month. We're in a brand new month now. We're all back to zero. So what I did last month doesn't matter. And that was last month. I got 11 more months to go. If it was a bad month, it was a bad month. If it was a good month, it was a good month. But it's in the books already. So you got to release it, refocus, and move on. So that's one of the biggest points I did. And then just like Cody mentioned, being around people that expect more out of themselves and out of the people around them, right? Surrounding yourself with excellence, hanging on to someone that's going to push you, not holding on to the people that are going to hold you back. I talked to a couple of people at the convention, and both of them, they were hanging around people, and the whole crowd they were around were issue paying zero. They weren't doing anything. I said, you need to escape from that group and get around people who are actually doing something that's going to push you, that's going to motivate you to keep going. And once they did that, you see them, they're starting to submit numbers now and place numbers now. And that's the big thing, getting yourself around that excellence. So those are the main points I've got out of it that stuck out the most out of me. The whole thing was great, but those things hit me pretty deep because I like to get complacent when money's in the account, when everything's okay. And I think Gage touched on it a couple of times, raising that bar of whatever it is. We all have that number in our head that's in our account. And when we get there, we get complacent. And we're like, if it goes beneath that, then we start working hard. So raising that bar up, raising that level of I guess, satisfaction, because the higher it gets, the harder you go to strive for it. So those are the biggest points I got out of it. And to remember to always be proud but not satisfied. I'm proud of last month, but I'm not satisfied. I still got 11 months to go. I'm still willing to kill it. So
awesome. I appreciate you sharing. I think that is crucial in this business. Like what Dave Anderson was talking about with athletes is you maybe you have a word or maybe you have an action where you just reset yourself and you get plugged back in. So after you get hung up on the phone, maybe you say something or maybe you do something, get up, stretch, do 5 push-ups, whatever you want to do, right? Like you can create your own release and get refocused. But I think that is a big point, because we're going to be going through wins and we're going to be going through losses. And what Santana was touching base on is redefining the zero. And what that means is whatever that number is in your bank account, where it's like, okay, I'm good. Like I got a little bit of breathing room. Whatever that number is, as we continue to grow and as we continue to help families, I think it's super important for you to redefine your zero, whatever that number is in your bank account. Let's say it's $1,000. If you know you got $1,000 in your bank account, you know that you're good, your bills are paid or whatever. But if it gets down to $800, you're like, crap, I need to get this thing back to 1,000 to make myself feel comfortable. So redefining that zero is, if it starts off at 1,000, move that up to 1,500, move that up to 2,000. As you keep, making protecting families, I should say, and getting stronger, you got to keep redefining that zero. So then you keep going harder and you don't get complacent, like Santana was mentioning. So I really appreciate you touching base on the release and reset, because that is a huge part of this business, is having some type of word, routine, or action that is going to get you to, forget about whatever you heard and keep it moving forward. So thank you for sharing. Now, if I could hear from Mr. Moises Santos, I know this was your first big convention you attended. You got to see a lot of people for the first time. So Moises, if you could kind of just share what you learned and some of your biggest takeaways from annual convention.
So I think what I learned, because, like I was kind of like Cody did.
Can anybody hear him? I can't hear him. You may have to turn on your audio.
Can't hear me at all?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can hear you too.
Damn, what kind of internet y'all got in Dallas? Good?
No, we're good. Richmond got that cricket.
All right. So dude, my biggest takeaway, because it was my first one, and I missed last year by like a month or two, so my biggest takeaway was watching everybody. Everybody's got the story of like struggle, and like kind of what I learned from everybody's story was that like a bunch of those people that are crushing it now are building big agencies and everything, and just kind of got out of their own way, because this business is totally you versus you. That was one of my biggest takeaways, because like I've been struggling with that since I started, right? Like you get in your head and you like all this doubt and everything. So everybody's story up there was like everybody kind of went through the same thing, right? And I feel like hearing everybody's story, like nobody's special. None of those guys are special. None of those guys were rock star salespeople or, Instagram influencers or anything like that. They were just people that just decided to get out of their own way and worked really, really hard and then stayed disciplined. They got rid of all their bad habits. Dave Anderson, back to him again. He was actually my favorite dude. Because he actually talked about like some real stuff. That everybody I think could implement in whatever business they do, right? Their everyday life, like dominate the day, not snoozing. When he said, dude, like when people snooze in the morning, those are broke people. Dude, that like that just like hit me like just so hard. I haven't snoozed since I got back. So I'm like, dude, he's so right. Like broke people hit the snooze button, right? So that's one thing that I'm really implementing in my personal life, is just dominating that first part of the day. I went and cleaned my car. I don't know if you guys remember that part, but I was like, dude, he's right. Like you can't have, a dirty car and everything. So basically my biggest takeaway was getting out of your own way. It's you versus you, and you got to keep your mind right, and then do the work. Basically is kind of my biggest.
Yeah, no, I think you're
thing that I took away from everybody else. Everybody just works really, really hard, man. And
that's it. That's really the magic here. There's no special juice, or there's no special way of going about this business. It's just putting in the work and putting in the hours. And the only difference between somebody who's selling at a high level and someone who's getting by is the amount of effort and time and focus that they're putting in, and also being open to constructive coaching. I mean, the people who were up on stage speaking, you better believe that they were humble enough to ask for help. They kept humility to understand that they weren't as good as they think they are, and they got to keep redefining their skills and keep continuously sharpening their iron. And you're going to hear that from most of the people that I'm going to talk to today. Is just like it's all about you. It's not about the leads. It's not about the products. It's not about anything other than you and you deciding to take massive action. And one thing that Austin Hatch kept reiterating is taking massive action. And if you guys haven't heard his story, it was absolutely incredible to hear him survive 2 plane crashes and, not getting stuck in a wheelchair and playing basketball at the University of Michigan. And it was all because it was a choice. He was driven to prove everybody wrong. He was driven to make his dream come true. And so whatever your dreams are, what are you going to be willing to give up to get there? Because at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to get to where you want to go without giving up some things that are just not money-making activities. So I appreciate you sharing, Moises. I think that it was a great 3 days to see what we're slacking in and what we can improve on. And that goes for me as well. Like there's things in this business that I'm slacking in, and things that I identified that I can immediately change. And I've started to change already since getting back from Miami. So thanks for sharing. So if I could hear from Mr. Billy Tompkins. I know this was your second convention that you attended, and just your biggest takeaways or things that you learned throughout the weekend.
Okay. So kind of like Cody, when I go to a convention, first one I did the same thing I did it when I got into the business. Is the first thing that I do is I analyze the room. I look at the people around me, and basically what I'm doing, and I guess it's instinct, is I'm sizing up. Like, do these people have anything that I don't have? Do they have can they dunk a basketball? I can't do that, but I can work hard. And looking at that room, like you saw individuals that have fire. Like, I don't know if Jake Conan hit y'all the way he hits me, but that dude is a monster. And it's not just because he's 6'4", 240 pounds, built like a brick house. It's his mindset. So, I thought to myself as I'm watching these people, and even on our team, like we have one of the sharpest teams in that whole stadium. But I feel like we're selling ourselves short. We're leaving a lot on the table because of complacency and things like that. But at the end of the day, I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, who do we have here that's getting better? And then I start thinking to myself, I'm like, I did a piss poor job of bringing people to this event. And I say that because I know how to recruit, and I should have had 35 people there, and I didn't. And then the people that were there, some of them weren't engaged, and that's my fault. So I start looking at how going forward can we do better? And at the end of the day, this business is mean, okay? And when I say it's mean, I mean there's people that are in the course right now that are taking the test, that are going to pass the test, and they're going to come in and they're going to have that attitude is, I don't want to spend money. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And if you let those people control you, you'll spend all your time focused on the wrong people. So what I decided during convention, after watching like the top recruiters, is I decided that instead of complaining about what I have to work with, I need to shape what I have to work with. And how do I do that? I do that by setting standards, by recruiting at a high level, and by working with the people that want it as bad as I want it. Because for the next convention, the commitment that I'm going to make is that I'm going to have a very strong presence of people that are engaged, ready to win. Just watching our team though, we have so much potential. And if you want me to be honest, we're working at about 30%. The potential that we have, we are literally working at 30%. And if you don't believe me, every single one of you that was at convention, ask yourself how many hours a week you're working to the business. Not how many you act like you're working, but how many actual hours you are working. Because I promise you, we are leaving ourselves short. What we have accomplished is great, but what we can accomplish, we haven't even scratched the surface. So I'm super excited, man. A lot of sharp people, a lot of hungry people. And I can't wait to grow with you guys. And like Cody said, competitiveness is either in you or it's not. And if it's not, that's okay. Just do your best and you'll get somewhere. But at the end of the day, I'm competitive, and surround yourself with people that you want to go to war with, so to speak. And I hate to say it, but sometimes I think this career is harder than war. I know that sounds stupid, but anybody that's ever been to war knows that there's a lot of complacent days. In this business, every day is different. So, as far as own what you have going on in your life. If you don't like what you have, assess what you're doing, because I promise you the answers to your success or failures lie in your activity. And the whole waking up early, all that stuff, a long time ago, the first battle of the day is that alarm clock. If you hit the snooze button, you pretty much failed the test, and that's going to correlate through the rest of your day. So, if you're one to use a snooze button, get rid of it. And just, use people that are trying to get to the same place that you're trying to get to. That's really all I've got, man. I wanted to tell you guys, I was super impressed with the crew that was out there. And like I said, next time we need to have 4 times that. So let's go.
No, I think, thank you for sharing, first of all, but I think that you hit on something that's really, really important. And it's really being honest with yourself about the work that you're putting in here. I'll never forget the time I attended a grand opening with Sean Mike, and he was looking around the room talking with people, and he asked me how much my highest month was that I had issue paid. This is my 5th month in, and it was 18,000 at the time. And he said, okay, 18,000, how many hours a week do you think that you're working? And don't tell me 40, be honest with me. And I looked at him and I was like, probably about 30 to 35. And he's like, no, more like 20 to 25. Because if you're working 30 to 35 hours a week, there's no reason you want to be issue paying $20,000 a month. And I was like, damn, like it was a smack in the face, a gut check. But at the end of the day, it was exactly what I needed to hear, because I was telling myself that I was working 8 hours a day or 7 hours a day. But in reality, I was really working 4 or 5 hours a day that were effective hours. So you just got to be truthful with yourself. And when you're doing this business, you have to be effective in the time that you're putting in. Like if you're going to sit down and dial from 8 to 8, like let it be an effective 12 hours that you dial, or effective 11 or 10 hours. But like we have to be true and honest with ourselves. And that's where it starts first, is being honest with yourself and not lying to yourself about the work that you're putting in. And so you got to look at yourself and look at your numbers that you've been putting in, and look at the hours that you've been putting in, and really say to yourself, am I putting in 40 hours a week? Because you were putting in 40 hours a week wherever you came from before, most of you. And we're willing to do that every single week because we were told we have to do that or we get fired. So if you're not doing that for yourself, you should fire yourself and then rehire yourself today, because that's the beauty of this business as being a business owner. You can fire yourself and then rehire yourself and start back over. So draw the line in the sand and fire yourself and rehire yourself. And let's attack the day, because this is truthfully day one of 2022. We're a month into this business, but annual convention is really like that reset, or that conviction that we needed, that we can do this business. So thank you for sharing, Billy. I think you hit on some really good points. Next, I'd like to hear from Brian Contreras. I believe this was your second convention. It could be your third. I'm not 100% sure, but if you could kind of share, Brian, what your biggest takeaways were from convention, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, appreciate it, Big Doug. Yeah, this is my second convention. This is definitely much better than the first one. Arizona was just kind of, it was tight compared to this one, and like the space wise, this is just much bigger space. But yeah, guys, the main thing for me, I was looking for, I think, a couple of different like techniques, and I wasn't really sure exactly what I was trying to get out of it, to be honest, because I try not to overthink conventions. I'm trying to get to what's at the heart versus like what's in my mind. But the biggest thing for me is I noticed the theme in all the speakers was that they all talked about their struggles and their failures. And obviously that's something that Sean Mike was kind of encouraging people to talk about more than their wins or victories. We're not talking about numbers anymore because we're focused on protecting families. And I think that was the biggest thing for me, is just being more transparent with my agents. Like, hey, I didn't have it all together. I still don't have it all together. I'm always figuring it out. So I'm always trying to be more relatable with my agents, but I forget to share the stuff that I suck at or stuff that I struggled at, because then they like, oh, okay, you're not that big of a deal. You're not special. Like nobody is. But sometimes people get that impression by how we carry ourselves because we've worked on it, right? We've worked really hard to be polished or sharpened or professional. But the newest person's like, how can I do this if I don't look like that or sound like that? So I think that was a big thing for me, is just being more relatable with people, not trying to be like I know everything, and just showing those weaknesses to people, because I think that's something that inspires people more than you trying to be strong. I mean, I always try to be strong because my whole life I was an introvert. I had to teach myself how to be an extrovert. So now at this finished result, it's like, I have to remember to encourage people where they're at, because they may not be where I'm at. So I want to make sure I'm more relatable. Obviously, daily routine, that's the biggest thing. Waking up early, that's something I've been really working on the past couple months just to get sharper. And then, really it was just being around a lot of people and realizing how inspiring this is. And I think we forget that because if you've been doing this over a year, whatever it may be, you have a team. There's a lot going on all the time, but just remembering that that's what it's all about for a new agent, is just being inspired and being excited to go help families. And I think this is the best convention I've been to. Only been to two, but I just really enjoyed the heart of many of the speakers. It was something that I didn't get the first time around. And I think that's the power of every convention, is it can reignite you. It can revive the dead, right? It can bring you back to life in terms of what you want to do with your business. And I think I definitely got that out of it. So
awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing. I think it ultimately realigns you with what you're trying to do in this business. It gets you back focused on what you're trying to focus on. And I really think that when you keep humility in this business is how you continuously grow. Understanding that there's aspects of the business that you could work on, there's aspects of the business that you could get better at, and identifying those and understanding those, and then focusing on your weaknesses to get stronger. A weakness that I have is my recruiting skill set. I can sell life insurance at a pretty high level, but my recruiting skill set isn't as strong as that is. And I'm sharing that with you guys to really keep myself accountable and to keep myself humble, to understand that there's aspects of this business that I need to work on, and that everybody on this call has things that they can work on. And if you keep true humility, you'll continuously always grow. You'll continuously always get stronger, and keeping an open mind to your weaknesses, just sharing your weaknesses. Like I think transparency is the biggest part of this business for you to grow a big team. You have to be transparent with your team. You have to tell them the real rawness of what's going to happen. And I try to do my best to always give that to any agent who asks me a question or different, if someone's like, hey man, I'm filling out this contract, I need to hit this button. I'm going to be honest with them. Hey dude, that's not my job. I don't do that. I have a staff member that helps me with all of that. So contact her. Or, somebody who's doing one call closes. I've not done a ton of one call closes. So I'm going to point them in the direction of people who are doing one call closes, and stay humble enough to admit that and not say this, do this, do this, do that. It's like, no, hey, Marcus McCall is probably one of the best on the team doing one call closes. That's probably a guy that you want to talk to. He knows what he's doing. You can control a conversation, speak with him, reach out to him. And that's also empowering your agents as well. Like you want to, what's the word that I'm looking for? You want to, I can't think of the word. You want to talk somebody up. You want to, speak good on other people. Edify. Damn it. I could not think of that word. You want to edify your agents. You want to edify the people who are doing well in this business, because they're working hard, and shine light on their ability to what they're good at, and understand what your weaknesses are, and then point to tools and resources or individuals that are really good at that. Because we have a team full of a lot of talent. We have a team of people who are good in different aspects of this business. And so that's where, if we link arms as a unit, I mean, there's 70 people on this call right now. Like we can change a lot of lives. We can enhance a ton of foundations, and we can help a lot of people break away from the corporate world if we all rely on each other, on our strengths, and then work on our weaknesses. So I appreciate you sharing, man. Definitely means a lot. And I'd love to hear, I don't know, is Jared Lindsay on here? I don't know if he's on here. Can you hear me, brother? If not, I see my man Willis is on here, out in the field, had protected a family at 7:30 a.m. That's just incredible, dude. Willis, if you can kind of share about your experience at convention. You got the red jacket, first enhancer to ever do it. Drop a 1 in the comments to show some love to my man Willis Hicks, as he's the first enhancer to ever hit Hall of Fame. If you can kind of just share about your experience and what you learned this weekend, Willis.
Yeah, man, I thought it was awesome. It was my second convention. I always learn a ton that I can take back and get better. My biggest takeaway, and I heard it last year, but like you said, you get some of us have to hear it a couple times, but was like Dave Anderson's, what are you willing to give up to go up? And so for me, what I'm willing to give up to go up is like all forms of partying, whatever that is, smoke, drink, whatever it is. I don't care. I'm done with it. Right. Because we all have a story of how we ended up here. Right. And we don't ever want to go back to that other life. And that's because like we are so freaking blessed to be able to go out there and crack, $3,000 in a day, $5,000 in a day. Where else are we going to do that? We never thought that was possible. And now that we're here, we see that it's possible. We have a responsibility. And to me, I don't need a lot of money in my life. I just want to have enough that, I can take care of my family, nothing crazy. But like we have a responsibility to these people out there, man, to help as many people as we can. And so, so that's me. And I just want to say that me included, I'm talking about me too. Like, there was a lot of us that went out partying every night. Like this is business, guys. We do this once a year. We went out partying. We took our team out partying. We got up late. We went to the meetings late. We didn't stay for the whole thing. And like, what are we showing our agents? And then we complain that we want them to get better, but yet, we're the one out there leading by example, taking them out, drinking and whatnot. And I'm just as guilty as everybody else. You know what I'm saying? But I think we need to get better, to be better leaders, and to take this more seriously, especially for our agents as well, because we have a responsibility not only to them, but to all the people that we help to get better every day. So that's my thing. That's all I
appreciate that. And that's real transparency there, Willis. And I think that you hit on something that is so crucial, that when we go to these events, we only get so many of them a year. We get like 2 or 3 big ones a year. and us not utilizing the opportunity for what it is and keeping a clear mind, clear brain is just fogging the potential of what could happen by simply making a choice and making an example of what this looks like. And at the end of the day, what you do is what you do. You're independent, but if you're not where you want to be, you got to understand that there's some things that you're probably doing that are holding yourself back. And we're not sitting here trying to preach sobriety here to you, but what we're trying to preach is when you go to a business trip, when you go somewhere to learn, use it as an opportunity to learn, not as an opportunity to do the things that you do back home. Like, you use it as an opportunity to keep a clear mind, to gain knowledge, to sharpen your iron, and to then in turn return back to wherever you came from and get better results than when you showed up. So I appreciate the transparency in that. The thing that I would like to just touch back on is like the award ceremony is something that is so crucial for everyone to witness, whether you receive an award or whether you don't receive an award, because you see how much hard work that people were willing to put in. You see how much money that Family First Life gives out in bonuses. I mean, I think Steve Giordano got a $75,000 cash bonus for putting in $1.4 million of business. Like, that's super impressive. That's super inspiring. But to know that we all had that same ability to get something like that, to earn a bonus check, what people make in a whole entire year, is great to see. So I just challenge all of you guys, next time that we go to an event, to come with an open mind, come with the focus that you need to take yourself to the next level. These are business trips, not vacations, not opportunities to go see the nightlife in whatever city that we're in. Like, do that in your own time, not on the time when you can utilize knowledge and top producers and getting around people. So I appreciate you sharing that, Willis. I really do. And then lastly, I would like to hear from my man, Marcus McCall. I know this was your first true big convention that you attended. So if you could kind of just share, Marcus, what you took away, things that you're applying immediately into your business, and how you're going to dominate this year.
Yeah, most definitely. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so my biggest takeaway from the convention would definitely happen to be being comfortable with being a leader and feeling like I'm meant to be there. Like, I'm comfortable being surrounded by Andrew Taylor, Gage, Michaela, Sean Mike. I got to meet him. Being okay with, people look up to me now. Like, I am now a leader. I'm comfortable with surrounding myself with leaders, and that is huge, right? But I want to touch on what Dave Anderson said as well, because taking advantage of the first hour of the day is huge. And I've been implementing this for the past 4 days. I've been getting up at 5:30 in the morning. First thing I do is I hydrate. 2 bottles of water. I'll make my bed, hop in the shower, last 1,001, 1,002 seconds, 10 seconds of my shower. I'll turn the shower on cold, and then I'll pray. I feel like that's been helping me like tremendously these past few days. And then another big point that Dave mentioned is basically, when you're, overcoming adversity, just come back as fast as you possibly can. Like, because we're all going to face adversity. But I like what he said about the boxer. He got stunned. He took a step back. He clicked his glove, and he's back in it. And now he's attacking again. So don't get, stunned too long. Like, because we're all going to face adversity in this business. We all get knocked off our feet sometime, but it's about how quick you get back up. Don't sit down too long. Don't lay down too long. Get back up and attack the day or whatever it is that you need to be doing. And then revisiting your why. Like, what the hell? Like, why are you here? Like, I almost forget that, sometimes, but that hit me as well too, is revisit your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? That's going to push you to your limits, is remembering why you're in this place, why you're in FFL, why are you grinding every day, 10, 12 hours a day, dialing the phones, helping your agents. Like, why are you doing this? It's for a bigger purpose. And I feel like when you revisit that, you're way more effective. and it's easier to grind every single day and put in them hours. There's a bunch more stuff that I can say because I did take away a lot, but learning from your mistakes as well. Like, as far as like us being there for Willis when he received his award, only enhancer that, and I'm guilty of it too. Like, we should have been there to support, regardless of the teams, regardless of, enhance and all above, blue collar. We all should have been there to support, to lead by example, to show our agents, what a leader means to be. And that will never happen again. Never. I'm going to be there for, the next 3, 4, 5 conventions. I'm going to be there start till finish. Everybody that was there was dog tired. I was dog tired. I took a lot out of it, but I could have done a lot better. And that'll never happen again. I could say a bunch more, but
I appreciate your transparency. I really do. I mean, I think it's important to understand that we all are going to make mistakes. We're all going to do different things. But what you really hit on is revisiting your why. And another thing that Dave mentioned is, what is your why and why should someone care that you're here? And I think that's when you start thinking more of than just yourself, the bigger purpose, the bigger cause. Why would someone care that you're not here? And really thinking about that, guys, like, you got to really, the reason why we keep bringing up Dave Anderson is because all Dave Anderson talked about was mindset. And this business is 100% mindset. It starts with your mind. It starts with those personal choices, those mental barriers that you overcome. And so we keep revisiting it because there's a powerful message on how our mind will control the results of our business. So I just highly encourage you all to continuously revisit your why on a weekly basis and put things down in front of you. Dave told us that he was in Wichita Falls sleeping in a sleeping bag in a house that was infested with rats. And that he was working 3 jobs in an economy where people said you couldn't get a job. And so we're in a position right now where we have an opportunity where we can literally make as much money as there's no cap on it. And so we're in a vehicle right now where a lot of people are praying and wishing they were in a vehicle like this. So let's not take advantage or not capitalize on what's in front of us. And so I'll end it with this here, guys. Today is day 1 of the 2022 year. What we've done in the past is what we've done in the past. Hit the reset button and get refocused, draw the line in the sand and make a decision to get stronger today. There's 67 individuals that are on this call right now, and we're going to end this call and the Zoom link is going to continue to go on. So you decided not to get back on here, or you deciding to go do different things, is you deciding that you don't want to get better today. You made a choice by getting on this call because you wanted to get better. Now you can make a choice to stay on this Zoom link and get stronger and be surrounded by like-minded people who are succeeding at a high level. We all have things that we can work on in this business, and keeping humility to understand that we can work on ourselves on a daily basis. I like to say you got to get 1% better every single day. Whatever aspect of the business, whether that's recruiting, whether that's selling, whether that's the phones, whether that's your in-home, whether that's product knowledge, as long as we're getting 1% better, we're going in the right direction. You're never going to stay the same. I promise you, you're not going to stay the same. You're either going to go back, you're going to go forward. And we have that choice every single day to go back or to go forward. And when you go back, then you got to take 2 more steps to get back going forward. So just remember that we're here to help you. This team is full of tons of talent, and this team is full of people who can sell life insurance at a high level. So leverage us, leverage our experience, leverage our knowledge, leverage our communication skills to get better. That's why we created this Zoom with the different breakout rooms. So whatever aspect of the business that you're trying to approach, whether it's one call closes, whether it's live transfers, or whether it's booking appointments, you're going to have Marcus in the one call close room today making closes. You're going to have Tristan Bennett, who's on fire right now, in the one call close room making calls. You're going to have Robert Santana in the live transfer room, who was #1 on the team last month doing all live transfers. You're going to have Billy Tompkins in in the live transfer room taking transfers for you to get better. If you're trying to do the live transfers, then you're going to have Cody in the booking appointments room. You're going to have myself in the booking appointments room if you're out there booking appointments. So we made this platform for you to speed up your learning curve, for you to get better. But I'm super excited about this year. I'm more fired up than I've ever been. And you're going to continuously hear me to say that because I want to keep going forward, not backwards. I'm not happy with where we're at. I'm not happy with the amount of attendance that we have on this call. I'm not happy with the numbers that we put up last week, because I know the potential and the amount of individuals that we have on this team. We have so much more room for growth. We have so much more room for potential. So I appreciate you guys' time here. We're going to end this recording, but we will have the breakout rooms initiated immediately. So hop into whatever room that you're looking for. And if you want one-on-one coaching, reach out to us, reach out to your manager, reach out to your vice president, reach out to me, and let's get into the one-on-one coaching room. So then we can work on whatever you need to work on. We can tweak whatever you need to tweak. But if we don't know what you're struggling with, we don't know how we can help you. So let's attack the day, guys. Today is payday. So let's get it. And I'll see you guys in the booking appointments room. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.